bringing you a kid-friendly radio show. Every Saturday afternoon on YouTube. Broadcasting live at 1 o'clock. Broadcasting live at 1 o'clock.
Hello and welcome to episode 35 of the Brit Kids Show with me, Ethan. Coming up on today's show, another head-to-head, the best guess, and an interview with Rich from Bike&Boat, who lives on a narrowboat full-time with 14,000 followers on Facebook. So hopefully you liked the last episode live. It was very stressful but very exciting for my 1 year anniversary. Hopefully this one is a little bit more relaxing because I am in my element recording it, not doing it live. And also, I did go on a little bit with the reaction of the best moments, so sorry about that. I couldn't really edit it out because it was already up. But if you haven't checked it out, the link is down in the description down below. So, it's been half term this week, which was really good. Good to have a nice rest off, but I've actually been really busy. So my grandma was here over the bank holiday weekend. We went out for a meal and things like that, but then we took her back on Monday and stayed at my auntie's for a night, and then came back on Tuesday. Then I had a drama workshop thing on Wednesday and Thursday. Then I went out on Friday for a very long walk. It was like 7 miles, nearly 8 miles. We walked to Cauldron Snout, which is kind of the start of the River Tees near Cow Green Reservoir, and that was really fun, but really tiring. Then on Saturday, I went to get a COVID test before I have my operation on Tuesday. So now I have to isolate until Tuesday. So I'm all COVID safe. Because if you didn't know, back in January, I had basically 2 screws put in my left leg. Because my right one is short. My right leg is shorter than my left leg. So the screws stopped my left leg from growing while my right leg catched up. So when we went back in like April, there was only a 0.4 centimeter difference, and before it was like 3 centimeters, which is very good. So they're going to take the 2 screws out. So they're going to take the screws out. Back out, so I won't have screws in my leg anymore. But yeah, basically that is what I'll be doing for the next week. And also I've had a haircut. I know. You can probably see it's a lot shorter on these sides here. I had clippers on it, and it's probably a lot shorter on the back as well. Which is really good. I didn't like the long hair, and I can style it a little bit more, and it looks better now, which is good. But yeah, also this is the last show for a month, because the next show is supposed to be on the week of my birthday, so I'm gonna take that one off, but we will be back on the 3rd of July on audio and the 4th of July on video. Also, I do want to say a big thank you for 80 subscribers. I don't think I've said that. Thank you for that. Now we're on 84, which is absolutely amazing. Only 16 subscribers away from our goal of 100 subscribers, which is amazing. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do. It does mean a lot to me. So now it is time for part 1 of my interview with Rich from Bike&Boat. Welcome on Julia boater and has 14K followers on Facebook, 377 on Twitter, 904 on Instagram, and his newly launched YouTube channel with 388 subscribers. It's Rich from Bike and Boat. So how are you doing today?
Fantastic. And Ethan, let me start off by saying that all of the crew are complete fans of yours. Over the last over the last week, actually, we've worked our way through so many of your shows, and
thank you.
Really, really impressed. You seem to have it together.
Thank you. If people don't know what you do, could you just explain to them what you do?
Definitely. Well, I live life. Basically, we back in August last year, July last year, I decided to change tact, and I was a gardener, and I taught myself how to make copper jewelry. And it came at a really tricky time for me because it was just at the same time I lost my dad, and it really hit home to me just how important it was to live your life to the fullest and to follow what your heart is saying, you know. And so, as I say, I started making jewelry back in July last year. And yeah, I mean, it hasn't stopped. Like you said, you read out those stats. And sometimes I just sit here and I think, you know, why are all these people so interested in what I'm doing? And I think actually speaking to some of them, because I get to meet so many of them as they come and watch me make jewelry on the back of the boat, on the back of the Bluebell here. We've only been here in Nantwich probably about an hour and a half, and we've already had 2 people pop by to say hello who follow us on social media. But I think, you know, it means so much to so many different types of people. We get boaters following us. We get people that just like the jewelry. We get people that like the fact that we home educate our kids as well following. So yeah, so that's basically who we are. We love to travel. We're very nomadic as a family. There's 4 of us on the boat, plus our cats and our new rescue puppy. And yeah, really, we just spend our days following our heart and traveling and adventuring and learning new cultures within our own country. It's fantastic.
So you've been living on the boat since July, did you say?
No. So we moved on the boat 4 years ago.
Oh, 4 years ago.
It was our 4-year anniversary on the 18th of May.
Oh, okay.
And the thing is, Ethan, is that having the boat, it was almost like a tease for the real life, the life that we wanted to live. And so what would happen is we would, you know, when I could get 2 weeks off of work down in Oxford, we would pop off on the boat and we would get up as far as Coventry or as far as Warwick. And I mean, it was actually the last time when we was up in Warwick that things really started to change for us, because we met this guy, I don't know whether you know the story, but we met this guy on the water point in Warwick who had decided at the end of the last lockdown that he just wanted to go off traveling. And he had £140 and he just got on his bicycle and decided to head to Wales. That's where he wanted to have his holiday. And it was so fantastic to meet somebody who just, you know, just basically said, okay, well, that's life, but it's not for me. And the whole rat race is not for me. And I just want to get off and I want to go and experience the world around me. And I just loved the fact that he just got up and went. And that was a real sort of like kick up the backside for us to find something which would allow us to do the same thing. So we've been traveling since around about the end of August, actually, the beginning of September. We left Oxford, which is near our home mooring, back in when was that now? December.
So you've been living full time on the boat for just coming up to a year.
4 years.
Okay.
Years. Yeah, so we moved on 4 years ago, and we started by Bike and Boat, the jewelry business, in July, August.
Oh, okay. So why did you decide to move on the boat in the first place?
I think that for me personally, I always wanted something different, and I've always been a bit alternative in doing things. You know, I would have gone to live in a straw bale house or a cabin in the woods quite happily. But it came down purely to finances. We were living in a place called Witney, which is just outside Oxford. And we had figured over 10 years, we had spent £110,000 on rent. And we didn't have that money. We didn't have anything really to show for that money. And we were driving actually from Witney into Oxford. And Jackie, I told Jackie this fact, and basically out of her mouth came, well, why don't we live on a narrowboat? And that was like completely out of the blue, and really, really shocked me. Within 10 to 15 minutes, we found ourselves next to the Oxford Canal at Wolvercote in Oxford. And we spent the rest of the day walking up and down canals looking at boats. Now, bear in mind, at this point, Jackie had never even been on a narrowboat. I don't think she'd even laid eyes on a narrowboat other than being in a magazine or on the telly. And so it was a big leap. And later that day, Jackie did get to go on her first narrowboat into the front cabin in one of the local marinas, and commented just how tight and small and claustrophobic it was.
So, did you buy your boat in like Oxford then?
No, we went up to Northamptonshire, where there's a big boat brokerage. And in this place, they've got like between 50 and 100 boats that you can walk around, and you can go and see what type you would like. So, for instance, the boat that just went past us now on the canal, that's got a semi-trad stern. Bluebell that we're on now is a trad stern, which means there's not a heck of a lot of room at the back. The engine room's all enclosed. Whereas this bit, there's a little bit of a patio on the back, and then there's a cruiser stern where there's a nice big patio on the back as well. So it was nice to be able to go and view loads of different kinds of boats, so that we could get an idea of the boat that we actually wanted.
Yeah. So did you buy the boat like new then?
No, it was secondhand.
Oh, okay.
And we had gone and seen so many different boats during those few weeks before we found Bluebell, and we got heartbroken every single time, because either it was a really decent boat, but either the wrong price, or really we were wet behind the ears. Even that it had a different name, it had the wrong name for us. We didn't like the name, and we didn't realize that you could change the name. It was quite simple to do. And then we also decided, because we're a family of four, so at this point Fleur, my daughter, who's now 4 and a half, was 6 months old, and Bobby, my son, who's now 10, was 6 years old. And we thought, well, we would need the biggest boat going. So we were going for a 72-foot long boat. But I found myself at nighttime waking up in the middle of the night in sweats, waking up almost screaming, because I dreamt that I'd sunk the boat in a lock, because with the long boat, you haven't got much room for maneuver in the locks. Now I wouldn't be so worried, having the experience that I have over the last 4 years. But it was really, really worrying me. So I said to Jackie, would you mind if we went for a smaller boat, as long as we had the right layout, so that we had 2 beds for the kids, a double bed for us, and the bathroom and the kitchen and the sitting area. And Jackie agreed. So we started looking for a 60-foot boat with that sort of layout. But we wanted to decide on what name we were going with. Now, Bobby, being 6 years old, came up with the name the Jolly Pickle Wiggler. But I didn't fancy living on a boat called the Jolly Pickle Wiggler. So we one of the places that we really loved to visit as a family down in Oxfordshire was a place called Badbury Clump, which is a National Trust property, and it's a beech forest or wood, which is covered in bluebells in the spring. And so we decided that we would call the boat, if we found a boat that was the ideal boat, but we didn't like the name, we would call it Bluebell. And this was really funny, even because went off to bed, and the next morning there was an email from the brokerage that came through at 4 o'clock in the morning with Bluebell's details, and it was exactly the layout we wanted. But not only exactly the layout, it was exactly the name that we had chosen the night before as well.
Wow.
So we needed to drop everything and just shoot up to Northamptonshire and go and view her. And we did, and we spent about 3 hours looking at her. And it really felt like we was only on there for 20 minutes to half an hour. We were just completely fell in love.
So did you know how to sail like a narrow boat before you lived on it for the first time, or not?
So I remember that I went on a narrowboat weekend when I was 7 years old with my friend Jonathan for his birthday, and I hadn't. I didn't. Of course, at 7 years old, I didn't have a chance at skippering the boat. All I did was jump on and off, maybe help at a few logs. But yeah, in my late 30s, I picked up this boat. It was the 18th of May, and it started to rain, and we were there. We were meant to be there at 11 o'clock in the morning, and we eventually ended up leaving about 4:30 in the afternoon. And so you get all this anticipation of excitement that you're going on your maiden voyage, a little bit of nervousness because you don't know what you're doing at all. And the guy from the marina basically says, right, here's your boat, here's your keys, go, and we pulled out of the marina, and right in front of us, literally right in front of us, was a double lock, so where you get two boats in side by side. I was so incredibly nervous, it was unbelievable. But I was so lucky because an elder couple just came along on their boat, a little bit like this one is now, and they went through the lock with us. They've done the first 3 locks with us. And that was the Long Buckby flight over in Northamptonshire. And really, it was a baptism of fire. I didn't know what I was doing at all. It was trial and error, and there was a lot of error, let me tell you. But we got there in the end.
What? So you've really got like thrown in the deep end, really, with sailing the boat.
Exactly, it was a deep end in a very, very deep lock. But to be honest, I just kept in my mind that they hire these boats to people for a weekend who have no experience. So, how hard can it be? To be honest, steering an airboat isn't particularly hard. There's a lot of danger, though, that you've just got to be wary of. A lot of people say to us, are we not worried about the kids falling in the water or falling off the boat when we're going along? Of course we are, 100% we are. But, parents also who bring up their children in houses are worried about the main road outside the front of the house. There's always danger in life, but it's about teaching the children to respect that danger and to learn to live with it and to be safe.
So what was it like moving out of a house into a boat? And did you have to get rid of a lot of stuff, or do you have it in like a storage unit somewhere?
Okay, so it was incredibly difficult in one aspect and incredibly easy in another aspect. I think that so much had to go. We had living in a house for, the house that we were in, actually, it was 11 years that we were in the house in Whitney. We had everything, and I saw things that I hadn't seen in 5 or 6 years. It was amazing how much stuff we had accumulated that we didn't even know existed. We had a garage to empty, we had a greenhouse and a shed to empty, and a 2-bedroom house to empty as well. One aspect, it really, really helped, because getting rid of so much stuff, we just put loads of stuff on like Facebook Marketplace. So we made a ton of cash, which actually paid for a diesel fill up, and it paid for a few bit like kids' life jackets and a few bits when we were moving on the boat that we needed. But basically we had a Citroen Picasso, and the plan was that we was to leave the house on the 18th of May with the 4 of us in. We never had the cat and the dog at that point. We've had those since moving aboard. But the 4 of us would be in this Citroen Picasso, and everything that we wanted to keep, if it didn't fit in the Citroen Picasso with us, it wasn't going to be ours anymore. We were going to give it away to charity or recycle it or whatever. And so, yeah, there we toddled off. We literally got rid of everything. And I think the only things that we really took was the kids had a few toys each, and we had our wardrobe, so all of our clothes went with us, and a few kitchen bits and pieces, and that was about it when we moved aboard.
So would you ever go back to living in a house, or do you just see yourself living on a boat forever?
So to be honest, it would be a family decision. And there's 4 of us, and it is a democracy, very much a democracy in our household. I don't think that I would ever get a chance, even if I did want to move back, because everybody in the family is so happy with the decision that we've made. but me personally, I don't think I ever could. Ethan, this morning we woke up in one of the most beautiful villages I've ever seen. We were in a place called Audlam, and honestly, I mean, this place was so beautiful. As I was walking around, this big soppy 6'4" bloke had tears in his eyes at just how beautiful it was, and how thankful I was that we could go and experience that, because of our lifestyle. And this afternoon we sat down as a family, decided where we want to be, and we've cruised up to Nantwich. And yeah, I mean, they say that moving house is one of the most stressful things in life. I love moving my house. The things that we get to see, the wildlife, the otters swimming in the canal, the kingfishers, the herons, going to sleep at night with the roof open, the roof box open, and listening to owls above you speaking to each other. It's just magical. It's like we're living in a dream. And often, Ethan, I do catch myself pinching myself because I just can't believe how amazing it is to live in this way. And a lot of people do say to me, "Oh, you're very lucky." In actual fact, it was a decision. It wasn't luck at all. It was maybe a little bit of bravery, maybe a little bit of stupidity. It was certainly a lot of thinking outside the box and deciding that, I don't really want to live a life that people class as normal. I want to actually enjoy my life and follow my heart. So yeah, that's the long answer, but the short answer is heck no. I'm not going back to live in a house.
No. So what is it like living day to day in a narrow boat, and how is it like cooking and things like that, and sleeping in it in such a tight space?
So a lot of people say that it's a tight space, but in actual fact, when you think about your house, there's very few areas that you actually use. So you might sleep in your bed, you might work from a desk, but there's a lot of area in your room that you actually never really visit, or you don't use very often.
Yeah.
And so we have the same amount of things in our place that you might have, but just in a smaller area. One of the things which I noticed very, very early on is how much more social we became as a family, because we've got no doors to slam. Actually, we have on the boat, we've got one, apart from the door at the front and the back, we've got one door inside that you could actually slam if you were, having a bit of a Barney. But it never gets slammed because people, we understand that we need to still give each other space, and we need to live socially, and we need to think of each other as well. So that was the thing that became really apparent very, very early on, is that the tantrums really, they didn't stop, but they reduced so much. That's even me having tantrums, by the way, not just Fleur and Bob. But yeah, so it's a very much more social way. Cooking is obviously done as a group, because we're in a group when we're cooking something, so everybody lends a hand. And I think that also comes from the fact that very early on, we wanted Bobby to feel that he was a crew member as well as a family member. So he would help out at locks. So this morning when we did, I think we did 5 locks this morning, Bobby's job is to run ahead to the next lock, get it set so that when Mum arrives and when I arrive, we can drive straight, take the boat straight in. I'll deal with that lock. Then he runs onto the next lock. The day before yesterday, we did 17 locks. And we did it in record time. And so it's great to have the kids feeling like they've got those age appropriate roles and responsibilities. And that's a massive thing in our family, is that sense of responsibility, that we've got responsibility for ourselves, but we've also got responsibility for each other. And that way it works absolutely brilliantly. It's absolutely fine. The only thing I would say that's different to a boat at a house is that when somebody burns the toast, the smoke alarm goes off a lot faster, obviously because there's less air in the boat. But that's really only the other difference. I mean, the positives are, when we open the side hatch in the morning, and it's on the wrong side here in Nantwich, but usually it's on the water side, on this side. And when we throw that open, and the other night there was the other morning, sorry, there were swans with cygnets coming up, and we can chuck swan food in, and all of those things that you can't really do in a house. Also, if you're in a position where your neighbour's a little bit annoying, in a house, it takes a long time to sort that out. Here, we just unhitch our rope, start the engine, and off we toddle.
Yeah. So That sounds great. So, what is your favorite and your worst thing about living on a boat?
Okay, my favorite, I think, is the fact that we can adventure every time that we want. So we're here in Nantwich this week until Saturday, but we can decide on Tuesday, you know, that we've had enough and we want to move on, and we can. So it's the freedom. The worst side, do you know what? It's really hard to find a worse side, but I would say that it's when you have to get a bag of logs off the roof and it's winter, because you know that moment that you need to get something off the roof for the fire to keep the fire going. It's that exact moment in winter that it will start to hail or it will start to rain. It's it's just Murphy's law. That's the way it works, you know. But to be honest, it's really hard push to find a negative, you know, because from a financial point of view, it makes sense. From a freedom point of view, it makes sense. From a stress point of view, it makes sense, you know, because you're always just immersing yourself in nature, you know. So I think that's the only thing that I can find, other than the fact also, I think the nickname or they say that boat, BOAT, is an anagram for bung on another 1,000. Because obviously when something goes wrong on a boat, it can be very expensive. Like, for instance, if your engine fails, or as it did for us, our heating failed back when it was snowing earlier this year.
Oh dear. The worst timing. So like how often do you like move your boat? Does it like depend on how you're feeling? And do you have it like planned out where you're gonna go to next, or is it just a very spontaneous thing?
So I like it when it is fair at the moment, but I think that, you know, our real aim this year is to get to the Llangollen Canal. Now, the Llangollen Canal, in actual fact, is only 2 miles that way, so we are incredibly close. I think when we started down in Oxford, we were about 115 hours away, and now we're only 2 miles away, which is around about 30-40 minutes away. So we are incredibly close to making that first goal. The other places that we definitely wanted to visit this year were Manchester and Liverpool, and there's a potential that we'll visit Hebden Bridge as well if we've got time, which is a bit further north. But basically, where we are now, there's signs along the towpath which the Canal and River Trust put out, which are the authority that look after the canal. And these specific moorings that we're in now are 48 hours, so 2-day moorings. But there's a series of 2-day moorings. So all we'll do is we'll spend 2 days here, then we'll hop around the corner, and there's another 2-day moorings, and then we'll hop a bit further, and there's 2-day moorings, and that allows us then to have a week in Nantwich. But like I said, you know, before, you know, if we get to Wednesday and we want to move, then there's nothing to stop us starting the engine and you know, and getting off. I think one of the limitations for us as a family, and our business name is by Bike and Boat, and the reason for that is because that's the 2 ways that we travel, is by bicycle and by boat. It means that we need to be near certain facilities, so we can't go off into the middle of nowhere for more than a week, because we would have needed to fill the tank up with the fresh water tank up with water. We would have been needing to make sure that we've got enough fuel on the boat, but also we'd have had to have made sure that we've got enough food. And also with Bobby and Fleur, you know, they like to be near a park, a play park. Bobby specifically near a skate park. We like to be near museums. This morning we went to Hat Green and we walked around the secret nuclear bunker, which isn't very secret anymore, but we went around the nuclear bunker. We spent about 3 hours there this morning doing that. So we're constantly, because we're home editing the children as well, we're constantly thinking about things where we can pull on local resources in order to fulfill that. So whether that be, you know, going to visit a nature reserve, going to visit a museum, or even actually hooking up with other homeschool families and homeschool groups as we go around different areas as well.
So like your kids can have a field trip like a lot more often than like they do at actual school. But like but how does it work? Do you have to like pay to more at places? Do you have to have like licenses, or can you just go to like a place and more there?
So basically, Bluebell has a license. I think our license is about £1,200 a year, £1,200 a year. We also have a special license that allows us to trade from the canal as well. But basically, with that license, you're entitled to more on any canal and river trust, canal or river, free of charge for up to 2 weeks. So the law states that you can moor anywhere in any parish for 2 weeks before you need to move on. But in some places like this, which are very popular, obviously the Canal and River Trust limit that to 2 days, sometimes a week, sometimes 5 days, in order to get traffic moving through as well. But to be honest, you know, if you enjoy boating, that's really no hardship. You know, sometimes we only spend a couple of days in an area anyway, even though we could spend a lot longer, because you want to travel being on a boat, you know.
Yeah. So like, what is it like moving the boat along from place to place? Is it quite stressful? Because I know you have done that today. So is it quite stressful? Is it a quite stressful thing? How is that like?
So it's really relaxing. So I'll just talk you through now what we would do is I've got my sign, my Bike and Boat sign, that literally gets chucked up onto the roof. And then behind me, we've got a pram cover, which forms my workshop, which is basically like a big dome shape, like a tent sort of thing that fits on the back. And that gets collapsed down. So that's 3 little pop buttons and that just falls down. We then lift up the rope fenders, which are these things here, which we have down on the mooring side to protect the boat against the side of the wall. We lift those up. And then it's a case of just turning on the engine, making sure that the tiller arm's on so that we can steer the boat. And then we just unhitch the ropes, the front first and then the back, and then we toddle off. The whole maneuver, Ethan, takes less than 5 minutes to get the boat started and off the mooring. We travel around about 2.3 miles per hour. So you'd be able to walk slowly. You would be walking faster than this boat travels. And that's it. I mean, certainly if you need to get somewhere quick, this isn't the form of transport that you would take, you know. Usually in any given day, we would cruise, when we are cruising, we would cruise for up to 4 hours, because that's about our limit where we actually really enjoy the cruise. After that, you know, it does get a little bit, well, people want to get off, you know, the kids want to get off and play, the dog wants to go off for a walk, or the cat's crossing her legs at that point, so she wants to come off and do some business. But yeah, it's incredibly simple. And then when we arrive at the place where we're arriving, we might have had to go through locks in order to get there. But when we arrive at the place where we're arriving, to moor at the boat, again, 5-10 minutes, the job's done. And then you're set for a few days just to enjoy the local area and go off and explore.
Yeah, that moves perfectly on to my next question. What is it like being able to explore like a new town or village very frequently?
It's amazing. And, you know, it's what I've been doing, Ethan, is I've been exploring local culture since we left Oxford in the size of their small portions of chips. So what I've done, because in Oxford, you'll get a small portion of chips and you're left hungry after you've eaten your small portion of chips. The further north you go, I've had to consider taking a wheelbarrow to pick up a small bag of chips. You get so many. I mean, that's just one thing. I mean, that is something which is just blatant, that you can see that the size of the portion of chips get bigger the further up the country you go. But also, the accents change, which we're really enjoying, you know. And it's funny because we can travel for 4 hours, we go into a new village, and the accents change, the cultures change, the way of thinking's change. Also, and I'm saying this as a southerner myself, people actually talk to you here. Whereas if you say hello to somebody down south, it's like, why are they saying hello to me? You know, me included. You know, I'm very much feeling like a southerner up here when people are walking down the towpath and saying, "Oh yeah," you know, it's a strange thing. People actually talk here, but it's just lovely to see the architecture change. You know, as we were going up into Market Drayton, for instance, there was this really beautiful red sandstone. And what was really interesting, Ethan, is that about an hour earlier, we were coming through these really deep cuttings where the navvies who dug the canal would have had to cut through these rock faces in order to make the canal level with the rest of the stretch. And we were seeing these red, almost like blood red walls going along. And it was great to then go into the towns that were formed because of the canal being there. You know, the towns grew and become more prosperous because the canal was bringing goods and stuff through. But you were seeing this same stone being used to build houses, churches. And so, yeah, it's just lovely seeing those subtle changes. And they're types of things that you wouldn't necessarily pick up if you were just nipping in a car and then nipping back out again. You know, we might do the same thing. So if you were going to Liverpool, you know, we might decide both we'll go to the pictures, we'll go to Nando's, and then we'll go and do a bit of shopping. Arriving in Liverpool on a boat allows you to do that exactly the same as you would in a car, but you get to experience so much more. You know, you're walking down alleys, you're finding new routes and all of these types of things. So it's fantastic to be able to, you know, every few days just untie your ropes, float off, and go and experience something new.
Yeah, that again sounds great. So hopefully you enjoyed part 1 of my interview with Bike and Boat. Part 2 will be out in my next show in a month. In a month time. I know it's normally 2 weeks, but it is a month between this show and the next show on Saturday the 3rd of July on audio and the Sunday the 4th of July on video. So stay subscribed for that. Set your reminders if you want to see part 2 of that interview. But I do want to say a big thank you to Rich from Bike and Boat for taking time out of his very busy day to talk to me. If you want to see more of Bike and Boat, all of their social media are down in the description down below. So now it is time for the weekly watch list. This week's submission to join the watch list is Blue Miracle. It is about an orphanage that is running out of money. So the person who runs the orphanage and some kids in the orphanage partner up with a boat captain for the chance to win a fishing competition that could save the orphanage. I would give it a 4 out of 5. It's really touching and I would suggest the watch. It is available on Netflix, so if you want to check it out, the link is down in the description down below. If you have a TV show or film that you'd like to nominate for the watch list, you can leave it down in the comments down below or email me at thebrickistshow@gmail.com and title your email The Weekly Watch List. So now it is time for the Ben and Emma rematch in Head to Head, the Best Guess. Hello and welcome to Head to Head, the Best Guess. But today is a little bit of a different one. A couple of weeks ago, Ben and Emma went head to head, but I did 4 extra questions. But they were still drawing, so I just announced it a draw. But we're back for a rematch today, so let's welcome on our contestants. First up is Emma. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
And Ben, how are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you.
Okay, so let's get into it. This week's topic is the Ben and Emma rematch. Guess the capital or country. So basically the rules are... this was suggested by you in the actual, the first game. So there are two people going head to head. There's 5 questions where you'll have the capital presented to you, and you'll have to guess what the country is. And then there'll be 5 questions you'll have the country, and you have to guess what the capital is. There are 10 questions overall. I will tell you the answer after each question. The person with the most questions right will win. Let's get started. Okay, what country is this the capital of? It's Quebec, I think I've said that right. Okay, do you both have your answers?
Yeah.
I know, this could be anything.
Oh,
I've got no clue at all. I just guessed someplace in
okay,
Asia.
show your answers to the camera now. You are both sadly incorrect. It was Ukraine. Okay, so
I thought like
yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next capital. So Lima. What country is this capital of? What is Lima capital of?
okay, I think I've got it.
Okay, so show your answers to the camera now.
This is really annoying because I think I know this. I was gonna put Peru, or it was either Nigeria or Peru. I think it's not.
Okay, so Emma's got Peru and Ben's got Nigeria. Okay.
I think it's Peru.
Emma is correct with Peru and taking the first lead with 1 point. Okay, so New Delhi. What is this capital of? What country is this capital of? Okay, do you both have your answers?
Yeah.
Okay, so show your answers to the camera now. Okay, you are both correct. It is India, but Emma is still taking the 1 lead up from Ben. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. I have no idea. Antanivro, I've got no idea how to pronounce this, but let's go with it. What country is this capital of? Okay, do you both have your answer?
I mean, I guess, yeah.
A complete guess with me.
Okay, so show your answers to the camera now.
Can you get it in?
What have you got, Ben?
But Bosnia and Herzegovina, I have no clue.
And Emma, you've got Malaysia, haven't you?
Malaysia.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are both incorrect. It was actually Madagascar. Okay, so Emma is still winning with 2 points. Okay, what country is this capital of? Helsinki. Okay, do you both have your answers?
Yeah.
Ben, do you have your answer?
I'm stuck between 2. I think I've got mine.
You mean mine, no, Mo. Okay, show your answers to the camera now.
I went Finland, yeah.
Okay, you are both correct with Finland, but Emma is still leading with 1 point, and Ben is 1 point behind. Okay, so what is the capital of this country? The confusion on Ben's face.
Oh, I don't actually know this one.
I should know this. I think I do, but I can't bring it into my head. I'm just gonna put a question mark.
Okay, so show your answers up to the camera now.
When I see it, I'm gonna completely know what it is.
Okay, Emma is correct. It was Ankara. I've got no idea how to pronounce these names.
I remember that now.
Okay, so next question. Oh yeah, Emma has got 4 points and Ben is behind with 2 points. Okay, so what is the capital of Thailand. Okay, do you both have your answers?
Yeah.
Okay, show your answers to the camera now. Okay, Emma's got Bangkok and Ben has got a question mark. Okay. And Emma is correct, yes, again, with Bangkok, and has 5 points. I think that is correct, isn't it, Emma?
I don't know. I haven't been keeping track.
Yeah, I think it is 5. And then Ben is behind with 2 points. You really need to catch up, Ben, if you want to win. Okay, so next question. So, what is the capital of Switzerland? Okay, do you both have your answers?
Yeah.
Okay, show your answers to the camera now.
Where is it?
Okay.
Oh, it is Bern, isn't it?
Okay,
I know
Emma's
these
got.
ones, but I just can't recall them.
Okay, Emma is correct with Bern. Okay, so personally, I would have not got many of these, but anyway.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember that one because it's like the German for like mountain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Not
like
the same, but it's like it.
Yeah.
it. Like I thought. I can't remember, but it was like one of those ones that you wouldn't think it's the capital because it's a bit like Canada. It's a bit quite hard to know the capital.
Okay, so this is the second last question. What is the capital of Argentina? And Emma is on 6 points at the moment, and Ben is still on 2. Okay, do you both have your answers?
Yeah.
Okay, so show your answers up to the camera now.
But at least you put one.
Okay, Emma's got a question mark, and Ben's what you've got again? It's just
It's
out
like
of the camera.
Bruno Alice or something. It's like
Okay.
weird name. Can't pronounce
You are
it.
correct. Ben with Buenos Aires. I've got no idea how to pronounce it. You are catching up, but sadly it is the second last question. So to be honest, you probably can't win, but let's do the let's do the last question anyway. Okay. This is the last question. What is the capital of Australia? Okay, do you both have your answers?
Yeah.
Okay, show them up to the camera now.
Where is it? Yeah, we both went to Canberra.
You are both correct. It is Canberra. But sadly, that wasn't enough, Ben, to get you caught up. So, our winner is Emma of the Bennett and Emma rematch with 7 points. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't know whether I'll ever need this knowledge in life, but it's good to know I have this knowledge.
Yeah. You probably would have done a lot better than me. And just behind with 4 points is Ben. He was coming back just on them last few questions, but it wasn't quite enough. How do you feel about losing, Ben?
I think I probably could have done better, but I think I was lucky that I think Emma was really, really good, so I don't think I was able to. I think that's why I couldn't win.
That's nice. Okay, thank you for being on today. Okay, bye. So, well done to Emma for winning this head-to-head The Best Guess. If you want the chance to come on head-to-head The Best Guess, you can email me at thebritkidshow@gmail.com. Sadly, that is all we have time for in today's show. We'll be back on the 3rd of July on audio and the 4th of July on video with part 2 of my interview with Bike and Boat, the weekly watch list, and head-to-head The Best Guess. Please share this video with your friends and family, like, comment and listen to last week's episode if you haven't already. Listen to this show until the end. Email me and subscribe because we are trying to get to 100 subscribers. Or favourite, follow or review or whatever your listening platform does. It really, really does help out. In the meantime, if you have any suggestions to make the show better, or about the Brit Kids gaming show, or if you want to talk on the show, or if you have a TV show or film that you'd like to nominate for the watch list, or if you want to compete in head-to-head The Best Guess, comment below, voice message me on Anchor, or email me at thebritkidshow@gmail.com. So that is all we have time for this week. We will be back on the 3rd of July on audio and the 4th of July on video at the same time, but for now, goodbye.
Bringing you a kid-friendly radio show every Saturday afternoon on YouTube, broadcasting live at 1 o'clock. Broadcasting live at 1 o'clock.